Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show back at it again. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
I just wanted to jump in really early, just kind of thoughts from me at least, and feel free to jump in here at the end, Marcus, on what you think. But I felt after the weekend, the Super Bowl, and just even just the after the round interview with Thomas Detry, it just kind of solidified something in my mind and kind of the theme around the show today, in terms of the idea of America. And the thing that Detry said is that he was just talking about the victory, how it felt, and just talking about the PGA Tour and wanting to be on the PGA Tour. Longtime DP World Tour player, never got it done on the DP World Tour, won on the Challenge Tour, which is their equivalent of the Corn Ferry, and just also Miss No that won on the LPGA Tour. Again, born in the U.S. but Korean in heritage. That this is the culmination of the Super Bowl performance with Kendrick Lamar. That this is America, the dream, the promise of America. That I would be honest to say that I don't think we've seen here in the last few weeks in this country, with people being outed, that came here for a better life. And this weekend to me was like this consolidation of truly showing what America can be, that we're hopefully still striving for, and that people are continuing to fight for despite challenges that we see directly in front of us. And I don't know, like I said, this is a golf show, no doubt, but when things are happening right in front of me, I'd be remiss to never speak on it and utilize the small voice that we have available to us to put a light on some of these things that we see. And if there's a deeper thought available than just seeing a ball, hitting the ball, I'm going to talk about it. So that's my thought. I don't know if you've been thinking about how things have gone, but I don't know, just felt t- timely to discuss it. Any comments there, Marcus?
Uh, I mean, we're two black guys doing a podcast on golf. I mean that's a statement in itself of what this world can be and what it should be. Is just an opportunity to be what you would like to be in this world. So, I mean, just like you said, people are trying to cut that off and shut it off, and make it a one-way street again. But I mean, there's just multiple routes that are going on, and that they need to continue to open up. So, yeah, I mean, clearly there's some construction going on, and yeah, we just need to keep fighting and keep constructing these roads, and not letting these people put the blockades up. So, um, yeah, I mean, you saw it. I mean, every different way possible. I mean, you saw another Super Bowl performance that was very symbolic. It was very great. And I don't really just don't care what the naysayers have to say. It was a great performance by Ken. Um, and then yeah, I mean, Detry, I mean, has a home over here in the U.S. territories as well in Dubai, but he just said it. He wants to be over here. Yeah, he's not going to give up on the DP World Tour. Still enjoys being over there, but has always wanted to be over here. And yeah,
Yep.
so I mean, I agree.
All right. Just wanted to address that right off the top. If you're coming in, catching this later on the replay, something I don't want to bury into the show. Again, these are people that represent what America's. It's no coincidence that we're the most diverse nation out there, and that is what has contributed to what we would call great. And so, why at any point would we want to slow that down? The ingenuity and the creativity, the experiences of others are what has made this country what it is. And it just doesn't make any sense to me that we would change that path, um, for the sake of bigotry. So, um, yeah, shout out to all the open thinking folks out there. Appreciate you if you rock with us, but we're gonna keep representing, for open minds and for people to see things a different way if we can in any shape, form, or fashion. So let's get into the stuff. Um, as I mentioned, Thomas Detry, I think that's a good start. Waste management, interesting vibe this year. The weather pretty much held up. I mean, it's a couple cooler mornings, but overall, weather was great. Wasn't quite the competitive down to the 18th green contest that we typically see. Detry pretty much dominated throughout. Kind of shaky back nine, going into the back nine on Sunday, but quickly regained his footing. I love that the man plays quickly and fast, just gets up there, already has it all worked out, does the math, hits the ball. Got a lot in the pre-shot routine. What'd you think about this man's dominating win? Birdie in the last four down the stretch. Not much to question there.
Yeah, I mean, it might have looked in question, but I don't think it was. I feel like you start with a 5 shot lead. I mean, you kind of stay stagnant, but you're still making birdies. Some of the guys tried to make a push, but never quite got hot enough. And then, yeah, the last couple of holes really just solidified what he had going on, which was just dominance over the weekend. Saturday, Sunday was never a question. I mean, I think his highest round was like a 67 or something like that. I mean, it was just a very good, thorough week for him. And yeah, I mean, I am always happy to see fast play. That note to the PGA Tour members from Charlie was not in regards to Thomas Detry, clearly. Um, yeah,
Right.
I felt like the statement was 16. If it was ever a doubt, between Berger and them, it was without. I mean, they went long. They had no shot, and he stuck it to a gimme, and he went up there and knocked it in.
Did
And then 17
said
played
he
a
learned
perfect
from
hole
it.
again. Yeah. So he played like a chopped off nine or something like that, and it spun right next to the hole. So, yeah, I mean Thomas Detry's here to stay. I mean we're at least until 2027. That's where his exemption runs out. So we're gonna see him a lot. We're gonna see him this week again. So yeah, hopefully he can continue trending that way. And I mean, I think Jim Nance had a very good excerpt, I'm sorry. Um Sunday as he finished out his round. He said that, some guys uh, they come to the waste management and have a brief spotlight or a moment or something like that, and they kind of fizzle back out, and they felt like Thomas Detry was gonna turn on his light after this round or after this win and then keep going. So I think the same thing about Thomas Detry. He's still a young man. I mean, he's barely in his 30s, and he's still got a lot of golf to go. He still looks young, so I definitely feel
Yeah.
like his light is only going to get brighter.
Yeah, he's in great shape. You can just tell. I mean, he's in the gym. He works out. Um, fit for the game. I don't know. I somewhat disagree with that assessment from our guy. I mean, this tournament has actually turned into a tournament that has produced some really worthwhile winners. Let's go kind of back through the last handful of years. There's some fluky ones in here, but overall, I mean, you would say this is a tournament for people who have had sustained careers. So, Detry, of course, will to be TBD, right? Nick
Yeah.
Taylor won last year in a playoff. We've seen him back that up this year in Hawaii. Scotty Scheffler back to back years in 23, 22. We know what Scotty's doing, right?
Yeah.
Prior to that, 21, we saw Brooks Koepka. Webb Simpson snuck in there in 2020. That was a little bit weird, but we cannot hate on his longevity on tour. Ricky Fowler then, Gary Woodland prior to that, and then we had Hideki Matsuyama going back to back in 16 and 17, and then 15 was Brooks Koepka again. So this has turned into a legitimate contest of golfers who have the game and sustainable. So while I kind of get where Jim was going with that, I mean the records of those folks. tends to disagree that it has actually turned into a contest that's not just fluky and kind of I mean, the course setup has been pretty firm these last couple of years with the green. So you have to play some golf. You have to place it well. You can't just go up there firing at pins. Even though these are some pretty large greens in terms of size, you have to play on the right level, land in the right spot. So overall, really turned into an enjoyable contest, particularly leading into the the Super Bowl in the evening. So one other, not one, at least one other note from me. I didn't get a lot of info on it, but playing in the last group with Thomas Detry was Daniel Berger, kind of been in and out with injuries over the last couple of years. Also saw that he made an iron change this year, and I want to say leading into this week, which maybe we're going to see him pay dividends with. But he is in the Ping imprint irons, changing out from some irons from 2013. I think there were some tailor-made MCs that he had a number of different sets that he has gone through, but finally making the change this year. Um, what do you think about that? We kind of talked about drivers a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
and sticking with what works, and for amateurs, maybe every few years, pros tend to change every year. What do you think about Daniel Berger finally making the iron change?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need a little refresher or whatnot, and the game changes, the swing changes, the fields change. So, I mean, whatever he needs to do to feel like he's making an advancement back in the game. I mean, same thing happened with Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick had those pings in the bag for the longest. Then he changed. Then he went back. I mean, you never know. These guys are really weird, bro. Um, it, we might see those tailor-made MCs back in the bag, but for now, Pink Blueprint is a very sweet-looking club. Mike,
Yeah,
longtime friend, he's played those before, so seeing them in person now, that I mean, that sweet spot is tiny, but I mean, these guys don't miss the club. They don't miss the middle of the face pretty much hardly ever. So I don't think that's ever going to be an issue for him. But yeah, the Blueprint's a really sweet club. I think he's definitely going to
yeah,
enjoy them. Um, I guess. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what happened with his club deal. I thought he was Callaway staff. I mean, his woods and his putter might be, but I don't know. That's what his hat was saying a few years ago when he was really in contention and stuff like that. But look
yeah.
it
I
up
think
in
for
the meantime.
everything, I think for everything, I think everything but the irons, he was Callaway. I'm looking at an older picture where he still got the MCs in the bag, and
Hmm.
there's Callaway wedges and head covers for the iron. So I do think he's, I guess he said, "Hey, until y'all give me something on the iron front, I'm gonna keep playing with whatever I want to." So maybe they just hadn't found something in their iron line that fits his eye. So we'll see
Yeah.
how long these pings stay in the bag. We'll see if he gets a victory, and we get to kind of go over his what's in the bag at some point, and double back to that, and we'll see any changes that he's made throughout the year. But I think this was a good week to start. If you're gonna look for something that works, let's see if we can continue to capitalize off that, and see if these are the irons for the next 12 years for him. We'll see. But
Absolutely.
while we're on PGA Tour,
Wow, he's a
let's hit the double. Go ahead.
ping driver, QI 10 wood, ping 5 wood, ping through the back. I mean, he might not have a club deal. Oh my
Club deal.
God, he's playing those ribbed grips, those super tacky rib grips that Uncle Al plays. Swear to God,
Well,
swear to God,
we'll hit his.
he's
I
got
know
the 440s in the
maybe if
bag.
maybe if we have a
Oh,
duplicate, we'll go over his what's in the bag before then. Let's keep it rolling now.
no, do you think? I'm
So
here. I'm listening.
Thomas Dietrich's what's in the bag. Um, since he was our winner this week, pretty straightforward. Callaway staffer, really no surprises here. Other than maybe the driver. So he hasn't gone with the latest and greatest, not playing the elite driver. Still has the Paradigm AI or Triple Diamond AI Smoke at 9 degrees from last year.
Hmm.
I'm very heartened to see that the Mitsubishi Tensei is getting a lot of run. We've reviewed quite a few bags with this particular shaft in there. The blue is interesting. I've talked about this. It's a very spinny shaft. The blue is you get a lot more spin than maybe the white version of shaft, which he actually plays on a lower wood. But what do you think about him playing last year's driver?
Last year's driver's still pretty hot. I mean, I don't know, man. They're it's just like the video we looked at with my golf spy. I mean, they're gonna squeeze a little bit more forgiveness, a little bit more ball speed out of it. But I mean, when these guys are cranking at 320, 300 through the air, I mean, how much more is he gonna squeeze out of that? 305. It's not like he's going from, the Big Bertha, the Big Bertha. I
Right.
mean, to the elite or something like that. It's just last year's. So yeah, I actually like the AI smoke. I like the look of it, especially since
Yeah.
that camo and all the busy spots of it on the bottom. The triple diamond is a much cleaner look. I mean, it's a sleeker face. So yeah, I mean, clearly he's in a groove with this.
Yeah. Um, for the 3 wood, the AI smoke, again, triple diamond. I thought the loft was interesting here at 16 and a half degrees. A little bit higher lofted than we've been seeing. I mean, we're
Hmm.
seeing people tend to go with the strong lofted 3 wood or even the mini drivers.
The
I
mini
mean, but you
driver, yeah.
typically don't see people moving outside of 15 degrees at the highest. So for him to be at 16 and a half, very interesting. Again, playing the Tensei 1K blue at 85 grams.
Looks
What do you
like
think
he
about
has
that
the
16 and a half?
I mean, the 16 and a half isn't really that far off. I'm just getting really, really ready to say, um, it really just depends on the weighting and everything now that with all the adjustable weights and where the CG's at. And of course, as we discussed before, some of these clubs be injected, so some of that hot metal and stuff be up at the front. So what it looks like to me is, yes, it's a higher lofted, like standard loft, but with the weight forward and probably a little bit of injection in the front of the club to give it some more front weight, that's going to keep it low spinning, and that's just going to help him get up in the air and just get his carry yardage up a little bit more. But as far as launch and distance, I don't really think it's taken away from what he was doing off the tee with his 3 wood or going into greens and stuff like that. So yeah, the 16.5 is an interesting ball game, and for it to be
Yeah.
labeled a 3 wood is also wild as well because usually 16.5, 17 degrees, you're just going to go ahead and label that a
Four.
four
Yeah.
wood and call it a day. Yeah,
Right. Right. And it could be a mislabeling on Golf WRX's side, but I went back and double checked. I was like, no, they have it set as a 3 wood, but we'll roll with it.
yeah.
Um, very, very interesting. So let's keep it rolling. Again, this is definitely older. You can tell from the wear, this hybrid gets quite a bit of play in his bag. The Callaway Epic from a few seasons ago at 18 degrees. Again, sticking with the Tensei lineup, but changing to the white with a little bit heavier
That's
hybrid
a heavy
shaft. I
shot.
mean, yeah, that usually you see that it's still in the 80-gram range. Kind of where his 3 wood or 3 or 4 wood shaft is. So
Hmm.
definitely interesting weighting there. I take it that he's a very low spin player, which is why he's going with the blue and the wood and his wood and driver. But
Hmm.
yeah, this interesting weight to say the
Yeah.
least.
Truly. I mean, but it's an 18-degree two hybrid. I mean, that's a 5 wood essentially. So yeah, I mean, he can tee off with that. I know on some of these courses where it's drier, It's a lot of rollout. You can just use that as a tee off club a lot. And the Epic is always, I think the Callaway hybrid really kind of innovated things as far as the look of it. It was one of the first brands that came with a more compact look, more of a iron face look, but really still just a little
Mhm.
bit of pop behind it. Uh, Always have like the look of the Callaway hybrid.
Yeah, and hybrids are so, and I think that's probably why a lot of people have gone to just a straight 5 wood to keep the
Yeah,
consistency with their 3 wood. Hybrids can be very finicky. I know when you find one that you like and hit well, I stick. For me personally, I've stuck with it. If I find a hybrid that I
very.
hit well and I'm very confident with it, I'm more apt to go to that and maybe lose 10 yards here or there versus my 3 wood, just because I know the consistency with it, hitting it straighter. I know a lot of amateurs tend to overturn their hybrids, have a lot of hooks, but I think that's how people set it up towards the ball as well. A lot of amateurs don't let the face just sit on the ground and relax. They prop
Yeah,
it up, and so you're already closed at impact. So, yeah, I mean, learning how to hit a good hybrid and having that as a reliable club in your bag, definitely a useful tool. Clearly, he's found one that's worked for several seasons for him. And then in the irons, we couldn't find a photo of the Apex Pro that he's playing on the 4 iron, but similar design language with their MB lineup, which he's playing in the 5 through pitching wedge with the
hmm
Project X 125. Pretty standard iron shaft there, even though we don't see as many Project X iron shafts. I mean, KBS has really taken over. Um, True Temper, even though Project X is a True Temper club, it's not their standard lineup. Any comments on the? I mean, this is just basic bladed irons. Not much to talk about
yeah,
here, unless you want to add something.
yeah. No, I mean, I think it's different that he's playing a 125. I mean, I think
Yeah,
but this does really go into the question of when you get into specs and things like that. Is there ever a time where these guys are checking to see like 1 degree up, 1 degree flat? Are they extended? Are they stepped? Are they tipped? Things like that. Those are the things that,
yeah.
again, as a niche golfer and a fan of things like that, I want to be particular. And if
I know, but I wish they would provide more info on this. And
yeah,
I was even really disappointed that with him leading on Saturday, that there wasn't more. Usually when you see somebody leading and they don't have a lot of information on them, these websites will flock to the guy and try to get get with him on the range and get a little more
get a little
info, get some more in,
biography.
yeah, get some more in-depth photos, and we just didn't see that. I was
Yeah,
wondering if it was like a language barrier, but hearing him speak after, clearly I mean, speaks English like perfectly well. So I was just like,
yeah,
damn, why didn't they get more info with him leading pretty handily going into the third Saturday night? But yeah, I agree. Like having more info, more defined info. Like I really enjoyed how much info we got about Max Homa's bag beginning of the year, and it's just
agreed.
like a kind of a lazy factor as we get
Yeah,
deeper into the season where there's just not as much details gotten or received about these players. Tipping, like you said, would be nice. Um, so yeah, I mean, we get what we get. And until the day that we get on grounds access, this is what it is. We get on other
true.
people's kind of info.
Yeah, not
Um,
to diminish
Go ahead.
Thomas Detry's iron set, because the MB is definitely still a pure club. It is still a very stout
No doubt.
iron. So we're not diminishing that at all. It's just we'd like to know more.
Yeah. Um, this is again lack of info. No pictures of the wedges. I just had to go stock, and then of course we didn't even have the exact. lofts that he used. But these are the Opus wedges for Callaway, latest and greatest from them. He's utilizing the 50, 54, and 58.
Hmm.
Again, would have been nice to know what he's playing his pitching wedge at, but we can assume it was probably 46 degrees, 47 at the worst.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen a 48 pitching wedge in quite some time. But then playing the True Temper Dynamic Gold issue S400, pretty standard stuff there. A little bit heavier in the wedge weight, the shaft weight.
Hmm.
So yeah. So again, Callaway Stafford through and through. Not much deviation from that. Um, and then the Odyssey O Works, number 7 black. I figured this would be one that you would like. This suits your
Yeah.
eye and what you typically like to see from a putter.
Yeah. I mean, I have it on loan right now. Shout out to my guy Grant. Yeah, another Grant rod, not that Grant, a different Grant. But
Okay.
yeah, I had a Odyssey O Works putter almost as soon as they dropped. I had a limited edition blacked out mallet, and I mean the face insert on these O Works putters are just phenomenal. I mean, if I was Thomas Detry, I'd play that as long as I could. Uh, the roll is crazy. I mean, it's one of the truest rolls you'll get. It's one of the first technologies that was really emphasizing getting a top spin instead of that skid to start the putt. It was
Hmm.
getting you to roll over and over to start your line truer and make the ball roll instead of skidding first and then getting into its roll. So yeah, that definitely like the look of the Fang um, and the mallet look. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed my Odyssey O Works putter when I had it.
Yeah. And one little bonus thing, just because it stood out so significantly on the coverage, the green glove. He's playing a G4 golf glove.
I was looking for
Definitely
that
stood out.
logo.
Yeah. I was able to catch like one picture that they had with the G, and I was like, okay, that's the, and then kind of confirmed it looking at the G4 website with the same trim and everything. So definitely a
Hmm.
standout glove. Interesting choice. I mean, you don't see a lot of different color gloves out there. I mean, black and white. Black's rare, white's the
Yeah,
standard. Green is like Charlie Hoffman only.
I was
But
about
I
to say
guess
Charlie
maybe
Hoffman is
just
the
because,
only one.
yeah, maybe just because of the waste management that we're getting this unique look. We'll see what he's playing next week to see if that stands out or if this is becoming a trend for him or maybe something that he's been doing and just because we haven't been super aware of him that we hadn't taken note, but definitely something
Very
that on the
true.
coverage stood out for sure.
Very true. Looking at this picture though, by the way,
Yes.
before we transition, I think it's hilarious that he does again have the elite head covers, but not playing the elite stuff. That is very comical.
Right. Right.
They're gonna
Absolutely. Good
emphasize that
catch.
new stuff.
Man, they gotta get that club deal paid out, man. Don't mess with the
Hmm.
brand. Good catch. All right. We'll come back. There's a couple more slides on there that I want to touch on. Do you want to go DP World Tour or LPGA?
Let's run through DP World Tour real quick.
Okay. I didn't get to watch a ton of this tournament.
Same.
Playing over in Qatar. The again, they've been playing in the Middle East quite a bit, so there's a lot of golf on this weekend. A lot of sport in general. Hell,
Truly.
tonight I'm looking like over my left shoulder. There's a lot of stuff going on. Got a bunch of good college games. The Mavs are playing. So we're kind of in that really kind of. There's a few spots in the year where sports are overwhelming, where there's more than you got time for to be real. But I did catch the end of this tournament. Haotong Li, which he's been around for so long. I have to go look up some additional info on him getting ready for today's show, where this man has been pro since he was, it's like 2011. So he's now 29.
Mm.
he's been pro for a long time, and a lot of that's on
Jeez.
the Chinese tour. Came up as a really a prodigy. I remember him being a Nike athlete when he first hit the scene. That was what caught my eye. A really lean, strong string bean type of guy, and has gone through some struggles where he'll have these quick little runs and then kind of struggle for a few years. This was his first win in 3 years. So 2022 was his last win on the DP World Tour. This made for
Mm,
his fourth win overall. But again, these have been pretty stretched out over time. And even coming down the stretch on 18, he put it in the bunker right of the water, which I get it. Played away from the penalty area, had a really poor shot out of the bunker, left it in the middle of the green, significant putt, and he ends up draining this really long putt for the win. He was tied going into that hole. You could just tell a lot of emotions coming out of him. He hugged his caddy for a long time and came out with a red face and tears coming down his face. You could tell that this meant a lot to him. I don't know if you caught any of the highlights from the end there, but I was able to fortunately kind of wake up and catch the very end of it in real time. So pretty cathartic.
yeah, I did. I didn't catch much of any of the DP World Tour this week. Unfortunately, I mean it was just right outside my window. You know me, I'm always up late, but
Yeah.
it's like right on that verge of do
It
I
was it
stay
was
up?
weird, yeah.
It's like 3 a.m. our time, and I'm like, that's pushing it for me. You know, if it starts
Yeah.
about 1:30 or so, like I'm in 1:30, I'm good, I'm locked. But 3 o'clock, yeah, no, I'm about to turn on over, boss. But yeah,
Right.
Haotong Li's definitely been one of those players that really, since he's been a Nike athlete, just cheer for it out of the background. You really thought that he was going to make more of a imprint on the game. Six
Mhm.
five, really crazy distance, just a real flat swing,
Yeah.
just not a homemade swing because he still hits all the spots, he still hits all the technically correct spots, but more around his body, still kicks it up on the speed, does what he's supposed to around the greens, not a terrible putter, but yeah, just couldn't put it together completely to win, more consistently. So yeah, good on him
Yeah.
to win, and hopefully, again, just like Detry, hopefully he can continue this and kind of spring him forward. And I think this will put him in a good spot on the race to Dubai, honestly, to get him more fields on the PGA, get him in higher fields on the DP World Tour, and more
Yeah.
elevated events. So yeah, I think this is going to set him up for at least the rest of this season on the DP World Tour. They're getting ready to go into South Africa, so they're going to do the
Yeah.
Kenya Open and then South
Mhm.
Africa for a couple of weeks, and then I think they're going to go back into mainland Europe and be in Britain, um, and do all those events. But yeah, I think I think this is a good look for him, and I do not mind the emotion. Clearly, he still
No, not
cares.
at all.
He's not going through the motions. So yeah, I think it was a good look. And you saw it took a lot out of him, but he made it
Yeah.
through.
I I hope he does not commit himself. I don't think that's the right term, but just keeps it going, right? Doesn't rest on this
Right.
victory and doesn't see that low again and doesn't have a 3 year gap between victories. And to be real, it wasn't even that it was like he was getting close and lost some close match. He had a very, like, I want to say it was a single digit amount of top tens in the last three
Yeah,
years as
it was
well.
bad golf. Let's just be honest.
So
It was bad golf.
yeah, he had really struggled to even compete. And I was reading also that at one point in time he was really getting pretty close to making it on the PGA Tour. I
Yeah.
think for some reason ended up going back home and lost that opportunity. I mean, I don't, I get it. He's a young guy, and I don't know if that was due to him being homesick or something, but that could have definitely changed the trajectory of his career, and we could have been seeing a lot more out of him. The truth is, we just don't see a lot of Chinese men on the pro tour. I mean, who's the other
Right.
guy? Carl Yuan.
You on?
I
Yep.
forget how to. Yeah, he's it, right? That's it. And
Truly.
so, again, talented guy, still young, 29 years old in the life of a
29.
golfer. He's he's got 10 good years left in him, and then some people catch that out past 40, but again, still a lot of golf left in him. And now with this pathway from the DP World Tour to the PGA Tour, could very well happen. Now that he's more
Yeah.
mature and deeper into his career, we'll see. We'll see if he's able to keep it going. Definitely one to keep an eye on the DP World Tour for the remainder of this year and see how he fares.
Yeah.
Um, let's slide on over to the LPGA. I'm gonna throw my slideshow back up here. Um, did you catch how to pronounce? I don't watch the telecast with sound on at all. Did you catch how to pronounce No's first name?
Yealimi.
Yealimi. I didn't want to guess and mess it up. Um, so the Founders Cup was sponsored by the U.S. Virgin Islands, so we had a little bit of culture in Florida.
Yeah.
So I thought this was an interesting and good picture to end in the tournament as she's posing with the trophy and some of the cultural aspects from the U.S. Virgin Islands.
This is
But
great. Yeah. Yeah.
catching her first victory on the LPGA, also a youngin, very young, and
Yeah.
also a prodigy as well. I could not see anywhere where attempted to go to college. She went straight from junior amateur stuff to turning pro the following year. I don't think
Yeah.
she may have been enrolled. She never played in a college tournament. I could find no record of her even trying that. Knew she was going to be a pro. Um, tell me if I could be reaching. She's got a similar swing to Nelly Corda, similar build. The impact zone is where I see that a lot. They look very similar at impact. What do you think?
Yeah, very well resemble Nelly. Long, lanky, I mean, easy distance. I think that's why it was easy for her to go pro. She's always been a little bit taller in the stature. I mean, she's only 23, bruh. I mean, she's got so many years in front of her. It's unreal. I think she got on and played in the Solheim Cup like early on, and that's why she went pro. Is because
Mm,
that's what she did. I could be mistaken, but that's what I heard on the broadcast this past weekend. But I think that's kind of the reason why she just went ahead and slid on to the pro ranks because after being in the Solheim Cup that young and thinking you're really gonna turn the corner on things, I think that's what happened.
mm.
Um, I think she went through a few growing pains as well, though, learning how to be a pro, learning how to be on tour, and has her family in her corner and everything like that. Probably travels with a team, but still, being able to process everything and be able to handle everything in between those earlobes was what's most important. I think um, she went on and won it on that back nine. She had a very nice back nine, but also it's one of those cases where unfortunately felt like Se Young Kim didn't have. I mean, I'm sorry, Jin Young Ko. My apologies,
Right.
friends. Jin Young Ko did not have her best. She had a couple of
No.
bad bogeys, couple of things that were very
After,
uncharacteristic for her.
especially after, I think she had gone like 70 holes without a bogey up to that point.
92 or something like that, I think is that
Okay,
final
it ended
number
up
that it
being
got up to.
yeah. I remember seeing it on Saturday, and I was like, "Damn, that's nuts. That's some really good
Yeah.
golf."
a tournament and a half or a tournament and plus a round. Yeah, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's some crazy good golf. And I mean, but that's Jin Young Ko for you though. She's not gonna make a
Yeah.
lot of mistakes. So when she does, you really have to take advantage. And I think Yealimi did that. So good on her for finishing the job, but she also went out and had a great back nine playing alongside her and not letting it affect her and putting the foot down and just going ahead and
Yeah.
mashing the gas on that.
Yeah, coverage came on. They were on like hole 8 or 9, and from that point on, I think there was about a 1 or 2 stroke difference between the two, and she took off from that point.
Yeah.
It just,
Hmm.
it really was not in question going forward from there. So I'm very again. It gives us another name on the LPGA to follow.
Yep.
Now that she's in the winner circle, does this garner her the? I mean, she looks like a very young and engaging. I kind of scoured her Instagram. She's pretty active on Instagram. Looks like a very confident young lady in herself, and this is just really can be a springboard to further success. So I'm rooting for her. Seems like a very I don't know, just lighthearted, fun young lady. Travels a lot, really embraces her Korean roots, travels to Korea quite a bit. Bit of a foodie. So I don't know. Like I said, the LPGA is so deep. It's actually ridiculous at this point how
It's
much talent
ridiculous,
is
man.
out there. It is so ridiculous, and it's just
It's
coming from
ridiculous,
worldwide.
bro.
And I
Yeah.
think that's part of it, right? I mean, the worldwide feeder. Um, system that they have going on. It's a California kid, but again, she had the kind of. I think Jin Young Ko said there were a lot of folks from Korea cheering her on at the Founders Cup, which I mean they were probably also cheering on Yealimi as well. So
Yeah.
all good. I think the LPGA season this year is going to be pretty damn good. When Nelly Corda is playing well and can't win, I think that says a lot of good stuff for your league, which I know her time will also come. But yeah, they're in really good hands for the next 10 years.
Oh man, I'm excited about this run they're finna go on. They got a week off, and then we're making our first Asian swing again. So there'll be LPGA tie the Honda where Patty T will be out there representing in her home country out in Thailand. And that starts on the 19th. So yeah, we're gonna take a week off, and then we're gonna be right back into action, and we're gonna really see a worldwide game from the LPGA. It's gonna be a good time.
No doubt. And then I didn't mention it earlier, but we're gonna see the Genesis this week. That'll be a good lead into that. The Genesis this week will be has been moved due to this California wildfires, and will be played at Torrey Pines South. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep.
Torrey Pines South. Repeating. We learned today, kind of mid morning, that Tiger, after learning last week, I think he jumped the gun a little bit, entering himself into the tournament, and then found out today that he's just not able to make it. We have the statement from the Tiger website, saying, "I planned to tee it up this week, but I'm just not ready. I did my best to prepare, knowing that is what my mom would have wanted, but I'm still processing her loss, which she passed away last weekend, or maybe early last week. Early last week.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone who has reached out. I hope to be at Tory later in the week, and appreciate the continued kindness since my mom's passing away. So maybe even his hosting duties. Um, we'll see how that pans out. But I mean, who 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 can question that decision making, right? So lost his father
Right.
years ago, and then losing a mom. We don't even want to think about how that would feel. That's painful.
No.
Someone who's been in your corner since day one, number one fan. That's painful. So definitely can understand why Tiger is not in the headspace to go out there and compete. We still don't know what the body is going to look like as well, but mentally, that's tough to
Yeah.
overcome.
Yeah, physically he probably could be there. I mean, he's looked good in the TGL. We haven't really saw him with the limp. I mean, as you said, his gait seems wide and he seems pretty much not back to full strength, but about as good as it can get for, his age and the amount of, work he's had done on his body. But yeah, I mean, after his father passed, he rushed back, missed a few cuts. The game looked pretty ugly. I mean, he just didn't look in it. He tried to play the open, and I think you know it went bad. And then the year after that, he came back and was focused mentally. So I think he'll go through a grieving process, and I think sometime this year he'll be able to strike a fire in himself and get back motivated. And I think this will kind of probably be a Kickstarter for what he wants to do to finish out what he's got going on the PGA before he transitions to the PGA Champions and has fun with those old guys again, as he mentioned already. So, shout out to Tiger for trying to give it a go, but respect to all for the decision he made, and no, like you said, nobody's gonna fault him for grieving a parent, bro. Like I don't even want to imagine that feeling. We've already felt it once, and I don't want to feel it again for a very, 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 very long time. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
rest in peace.
Yeah. Miss Cutilda Woods, rest in peace for sure. Let's swing on over to those Live boys. Touch on them a little bit. So they kicked off their
Yeah,
season in Riyadh. I didn't put that on the list outside of the Dustin Johnson thing, but
no, cover it.
night golf.
Weird.
Um, I recorded it. I didn't watch any of the sessions in real time. The weird time of the night. Again, kind of on the same plane as the DP World Tour, but I caught the recording. The lighting was actually better than I thought it was going to be. They don't spare anything, any cost, in Cotter, and where not Cotter, but where they were. Just
Saudi
there's a
Arabia.
light every yeah, there's a light every 20 yards. So even
Hmm.
areas and spaces where I thought, okay, this is going to be kind of dark, not at all. So it presented on TV better than I thought, but it also something that raised a thought in my brain is that them and scheduling tournaments at the appropriate time in the place that they're playing, right? So we touched on this last year when they had a tournament in Houston in the middle of the summer and
Yeah,
saying how brutal and inappropriate. like it's just weird to hold a tournament in Houston in the summer. It was hot. It's hard to have provisions available for that. So I get
yeah,
it if they were playing in Saudi Arabia and whatever their summer would be. But I was looking at the, Google weather. During the day, the temps were only like 70 something degrees. But at night, when they were playing, it's 50 degrees. And they're all wearing sweaters and, fully kitted. So I just found that very interesting, to kind of force the night golf thing when it didn't necessarily have to happen that way. Or if you were going to do it, do that, have this tournament in the summer. I know this is where they kick it off every year, but that part was weird to me. But definitely presented a lot better on TV. And I don't know, again, whether it's the country that they're in and kind of restrictions around behavior, but the music was definitely toned back. And I don't know if that's intentional. We will have to see as the season rolls on. It definitely presented more of a traditional TV product because the music doesn't come across very well on television. So, how much did you get to watch? What did you think of the presentation? Because we were both questioning the decision to go at night.
yeah. I, I have very little to hate on this week. I mean, it was at a presentable time for us in America, especially since they're really trying to make it live golf. So golf was on from like 11. 11 to 2 or something like that. Our time, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Something like that was the coverage on Fox Sport. It was on Fox Sport 2. Fox Sports 2. I had to find the channel. Once again, I had to find the channel. Um,
Even though it was
don't even
Fox,
think.
it was still
Yeah, that's probably my only beef this week. Um, it was honestly really good golf. Um, I get, and I really get the aspect of the team golf. It's just it's got to be like we got to add that other round, man. And they have to have tee times, bruh. But like you having a team score really makes you not bow out of a tournament. There is no giving up. There is no, I'm gonna mail it in because somebody else on the team is doing good. All the scores count, and then there's money for the team win as well. So like
yeah.
for instance, on the final day on Saturday, Caleb Surratt was not having a good day, or the on Legion 13, but the team was
Yeah.
winning by like 13 strokes. But like,
Yeah.
if you continue to have,
And I can tell you why. Because it's like Rom finished tied for second. Tyrrell Hadden tied T6 with like
yep,
four other guys. And then Surratt's the next one after Haddon at 11th, solo 11th. And like you just said, he only finished one under on Saturday. But like you said, you have a few guys in the top 10 or a couple guys in the top 10. This team format is a done deal. It's not
yeah,
even close. And that's crazy because Egan Garcia finished T6 as well, but their next closest guy after that on the Fireballs is 33rd. And this
mm,
Mirando guy, Luis Massavo, never heard of him, but that's the
no
newest
clue.
Fireball. But again, it didn't matter that they had two guys. If the next closest is T33, who cares? And to Abraham
Right.
Answer, God, it's so sad seeing how far he's fallen. Tied for 42nd.
Ugh, ugh.
It's so sad, man. Um,
Buddy was just cooking on the President's Cup, and now he is nowhere to be found, bro. Just something.
it's
Oh, look
so
at
bad,
Bubba.
bro.
Bubba's still playing. Oh,
Oh, well, they got no players. They don't have anybody to
who is Ben Campbell?
to, there's some rando names. The fact that Andy Ogletree has still been able to keep a spot. There's another guy on the Ironheads team, which is Kevin Na's team, Yubin Jang,
No clue.
world beater. Um, God,
Wade
Patrick Reed finished
Ormsby.
T44.
Haven't seen that. Haven't seen that name in a while.
Yeah.
Australian golfer. Brendan Steele, nothing. Ali Snyder
Uh,
Jans, nothing.
Brandon, they had to bring back Brandon Grace, even though he was relegated out of the league. Did not make the
Mm.
qualifier, but they just had to bring him back.
Yeah. Danny Lee, fall from grace. Mm.
I, I
Mm.
feel like the South African team would better off with Ernie Els at this point.
Yeah. Hey, look, Taylor Gooch ain't had really nothing to speak about since that boy said I don't want to do the qualifiers.
No,
Mm.
since he was crowned the greatest iron player of all, like in the world, or one of the best iron players in the world, he's not been able to live up to that.
Yeah,
He
but
put
let's not
the
speak on him too
Greg.
much. I don't want to give him any kind of bulletin board material. Him randomly get added by him for some reason. I don't even want to go through that.
But one thing I noticed in the coverage in real time, and then kind of confirmed it today, when there was an announcement made that Dustin Johnson had split from TaylorMade after 16 years, 18 years together, long
Yeah,
partnership. This man's face on the coverage, again, I didn't want to like put too much stock into it, but after seeing this image, it confirmed it for me. So I'm going to bring this up. Something's up, man. The man looks bloated in the face. Something is not right there. I can't put and it's not just he's got a chew going on. The face is this in full. It looks full and swollen. He looks inflamed. Um, and I'm like, are you okay, bro?
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Are we
know, but
back
I
on the
don't. I
sugar?
mean, no, no way he's on the sugar if he's looking like that. And sugar's gonna take all that away. He gonna take. He gonna be feeling like he's on on
Well, but what if he? But
top of
what
the
if it's
world.
just inflamed? I don't know. I know I get that, but also him not working out and taking care of his body. It
Yeah,
just something's not right there. I just it makes me uncomfortable. And we saw pretty much peak Dustin Johnson right before the Live merger. Like he was really raking it and
yeah,
looking great. And then it's been nothing but downhill since that point.
yeah.
Um, which sucks
He's
because
coming
he's a
up
hell
on
of a
20
talent.
years though. 20 years in the game, in
I
the
don't
pro
know,
game,
man.
man. He's coming up on it, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy to even say about my man's, but oh man, it's scary, bro. I don't know. I don't know what to say about I don't know what to say about DJ. But along with the face and how it's looking, it's really a telltale sign that TaylorMade is giving up on my man's. Like, despite it all,
Yeah,
they stuck with him. And when they had the merge talks, remember they started releasing videos with DJ back in them immediately. Immediately.
yeah,
YouTube, the Instagram, they started posting like the wedge stuff, um, the wedge play stuff, and with the rest of the staffers, the YouTube shorts and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I don't know. He's going to be a club free agent, but probably not for long. He's probably going to be on with Callaway or something like that. I don't know. I mean, he might. I really don't know, Rod. I,
I don't know
I'm
either.
trying to
It's
understand.
weird. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it
It's
is. I'm
so
trying to
weird.
understand. I'm
Um,
trying to
I
understand.
don't think there's been much. I don't think there's been much credible reporting on the why they split, but
You know, he
I
ain't
don't
gonna give
know.
up nothing because he don't really want to talk to us. No way.
No. Um, I think we'd be remiss without mentioning that the winner of the event in Riyadh was Adrian Maronk.
Right?
His first win anywhere
Funny
in the
ass.
last 2 years. So, I mean, he looked very unfocused last year as well. So I'm glad to see him, what seemed like a decent off season. Maybe he's remotivated to push for the Ryder Cup this year after essentially going to live based on not making the previous Ryder Cup. Maybe
Yeah,
that has him motivated to get his game back together. I told you when we saw him at the Live Golf Championship, team championship last year, disinterested as fuck. Just
yeah,
did not look like he cared to be out there at all. Him and Thomas Peters look to be the most disinterested golfers I've seen in a long time. So
because
if
it
he's
means
found his
nothing.
spark, it doesn't when you know the guaranteed paycheck is coming. So if this remotivates him to get his game back together and we see the Adrian Maronk of 2023, I'm all for it. I thought the kid
Yeah,
was on an upward trajectory that was pretty unstoppable at that point. To only see
yeah.
him fall all the way back, so I'm happy for him. I'm not gonna hate. I want to see him do well. Period.
Yeah, I mean, so they recently just so he has Vokey wedges, Titleist ball, stuff like that. So gets access to my TPI, which is a YouTube channel I follow. Very interesting as really like angle of golf and stuff like that, as far as like interactions and stuff. Really try
Hmm.
to, kind of build off athleticism and ground forces and stuff like that. Um, I think it's a really interesting format that they use out there. I mean, they literally plug you up, have you on the 3D screen, really try to get you to play your best golf with whatever you're doing and whatever you're physically capable of doing. They do like a physical assessment beforehand. They get like your strength building and stuff like that. Really great stuff. So they worked with him and they have like a little, it's like a 30-minute deal.
Hmm.
Working on his wedges, working on his body movement with the wedges and stuff like that. It's a swell deal, and I was really locked in on it. Yeah. So, I mean,
This okay. 1950s came back. Swell, my
my
guy.
fault,
Swell.
my fault, bro, my bad. But
No, I had to
I
dig you on that. It's cool.
to wrap it all up, yes, I too still am hoping that Adrian Monroe doesn't just let his game fall by the wayside. And hopefully we see him on some DP World Tour events pretty soon. And because we all know that the Live plays once every 2 months or whatever. So hopefully we'll get
Yeah.
him on some of
Well,
that TV coverage.
ju- just to hit their schedule up real quickly before we move on to something else. So they play back to back weeks. So they're here. They're going to be in Australia this week, playing on Valentine's Day to Sunday, back to their
Ah,
regular Friday through Sunday schedule. Their
okay.
Adelaide tournament, again, they're in a different site that they've been playing in the last few years in Australia. So we'll see if it's been a good site for them. This has been their
Yeah.
busiest and most raucous tournament. We'll see if they're able to recreate that. Again, we'll get to see if some of the things that we saw in Riyadh continue, the quietness. I know we're going to go back to daytime golf, but we'll see if the music is back at full force.
Maybe
Um,
for one hole
you
or
know,
something, but I think the players probably lobbied for it too. Like,
it was
I'm
everywhere.
okay. Yeah, I'm okay with some music in some holes where it's a party hole, but I don't want loud blaring music on every hole. And if John Rahm really had something to say about it, I think they made a change. So he
Yeah.
probably went
I,
to them and Old Man Westwood and
he,
Old Man Poulter, those old hags, they probably came in complaining and stuff.
Well, well, well. First of all, the DJs were garbage. The music selection was bad,
Terrible.
and even my 10-year-old was just like, it's too much. And we would find quiet areas of the course, kind of middle of the fairway, um, away from tee
Away from the
boxes and away
speakers.
from
Yeah.
greens. Yeah, because it was just on top of at all times. Again, all greens, all tee boxes had music going on. It's just like I need a break. I can't do this for 3 4 hours straight with
Yeah.
music blasting at me. So anyway, we'll get to see it. Again, the TV coverage was fine. I think the more that people are the TV golf on TV, I don't know how it can be made good. It's golf on TV.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't take much criticism of the PGA Tour or even Liv's PGA cover or TV coverage because it's just again, unless you're playing the game or you're at the tournament, it's not exactly the most exciting thing to watch. I don't care
Yeah.
what you could do. I mean, you'd have to make it a super interactive experience where you're interviewing pretty much damn near all day. Um, cut out a lot of the putt coverage where they're on the greens. I don't know. It's a product that's hard to broadcast and make good. So I don't
Yeah.
fault anybody. What else? Anything else from golf before we get into Super Bowl and NBA?
Um. Good question. Not really. Wasn't really a lot of like. noticeable stories per se, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like I like the Detry stuff. I liked
Yeah.
um the LPGA. I mean, again, just so many people
Good
around the
stories.
lead.
Yeah.
Good golf being played, and hopefully, again, I've turned over a new leaf. I'm trying to give Lyft like a true chance this year for sure. So that's what I was saying. Saudi Arabia didn't look that bad. I'm not unopposed to night golf.
No.
I'm not a night golf hater. You know what I'm saying? But it is a weird product. You have to be like okay with golf just being in a spotlight and stuff like that. Like you can't just be ready for it to be at 2 p.m. in the baking sun. Like you have to be okay with that. But other than that,
But
yeah,
it,
I
again,
was okay with Live
it
this
just
week.
didn't make yeah, it just didn't make sense for this time of year. Get them boys out in the
Right.
sun. It would have made sense for them to play during the day in the 70s versus in the nighttime, high 40s, mid 50s. That
Yes.
was weird. But outside of that, cool. Um yeah, and we'll see what this week brings to us on the PGA Tour. Oh, random. Last thing from the PGA. Did you see
Yes.
Ricky's camouflage?
Disgusting, despicable, a crime.
I I feel
Ricky, I
like he
love
just
you.
got to hang it. I feel like Ricky's like getting close to the end. He's jumping the shark. Camouflage,
Ricky,
bro.
Ricky, you have got to just go back. Listen, just be a Justin Thomas, bro. Just be a Justin Thomas. Have you some Grayson Clothiers, some Travis Matthew. I mean, if you're gonna stay with Puma, Puma's got plenty of stuff. I got it in the shop. They got plenty
Yeah,
of stuff that's very ho hum. They still
it's
got
so
some loud
bad.
prints. They still got some decent colorways though, bro. Like you don't have to be that way, bro.
It's
You don't
hard.
have to
It's
be that
hard
way.
in today's age of like edited images. But I saw a screenshot of the waste management uh the tournament itself page. Say if you're looking for Ricky Fowler, you can find him at the bottom of the leaderboard. I was like, is that real? If that's real,
Oh
that's super
no.
savage.
Oh
Yeah, it was.
no.
I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm not. I didn't.
What?
Again, I caught it in passing, so I didn't take the time to go validate whether that was legit or not. But it was. It was savage. And if it's a joke that somebody else was able to edit up, still savage. So
That's
he ended up pulling
disgusting.
out and withdrawing. I think on day two. So I hate it for Ricky because he actually had a pretty decent start to the season, but um, yeah. All right, we're getting
Dad.
long in the tooth. I know.
Freaking Mavs.
Super Bowl, man. Let's go Super Bowl first. Let's hit Super Bowl and
Snooze
then
fest.
Mavs. It was a horrible game. I mean, good for the Eagles. Fly Eagles fly. Um, as
Yeah, I'm okay with
as
them winning
a
this year.
as a long suffering Cowboys fan, when is it appropriate to just figure out what your alternate team's gonna be? Where you're just like, I've stuck with
I
this long
told you
enough.
this already. My backup team is Baltimore. My
Okay.
backup team is Baltimore. If we're talking NFC, I don't mind the Lions winning. I also don't mind the Commanders winning.
Okay,
I
we're on the
am a
same page
Jaden
there.
Daniels
I,
fan.
I I'm
Yeah.
I'm waffling back and forth between the two. I hate that the Detroit went out super ugly. Um,
Woo!
they
They got
kind of got
exposed.
exposed this year, but I agree. I think Washington's got something going on. If it look if they went back if after a couple of years they decided to go back to the Washington football team, which I thought was G. Like I get it, you had to get rid of the original name, but Washington
Yeah.
football team, that was hard to
Oh,
me. If they go
you
back
thought
to
that was
that and give
good?
up Commanders, I'd love that. It's just definitive. We're the Washington football team. That may be a super unpopular opinion, but if they go
Rod,
back to
please.
that, I'm trading in my fandom. I'm done with the
Rod,
Cowboys.
please.
this this is gonna be the next. This is gonna be the worst year coming up in a long time. And last year was bad. Next year is gonna be worse.
I don't
So
think it's gonna get. It can't. It
uh,
can't possibly get worse. It
it's
can't
gonna get
possibly
worse.
get worse.
Dak's gonna get hurt again. He's got the
They got a
money.
lot of motive. They got a lot of motivation. They got baby Schottenheimer in there. I don't know who any of these offensive or defense coordinators are. I don't know who the pass game specialist is. I don't know who any of these coaches are, but it can't possibly get worse. It can't possibly get worse.
Ken Dorsey, if that's the guy they brought in for the passing game specialist that signed today.
Yeah,
Isn't he the old ex Miami quarterback from years ago? Um,
no clue.
so yeah,
No clue.
we're just stitching this thing together with yarn
Woo,
and
go
hope.
Baltimore.
I know, bro.
Let's go. LJ
Um,
era 8. Woo.
you mentioned it early on when we first hopped on and kind of had our intro. The I'll say this about the halftime show. There's gonna be people that don't like it, and to be honest with you, if you don't like it, it probably wasn't meant for you. But I think you should actually go research someone who spoke about the meanings and the symbolism. There were a lot of things. Yeah, you have to. Some of it was right in your face, right?
Right, right,
Where
right.
you don't need many context clues, but there's some additional symbolism that you might have to know a little bit more Kendrick lore, know a little bit of history to pick up on, but um, it's not. It wasn't meant to be some dynamo performance of you know Christina
All of
Aguilera.
his,
It's not
yeah,
that.
it wasn't going to be all his upbeat bangers from 2012 and on. Like, Kendrick is a person of the now. He, when he was with when he made that album with the Carters, he was with that, he was with that movement. He played those songs. He didn't go back to ADHD. He didn't go back to any of that stuff. That's not what he's about. He's about moving forward, and all the songs that he played were very modern. He did his scissor
Yeah, it's a
track.
Gen X.
He did
Yeah.
all the stars. So that was your throwback, and it was a great one. You saw the crowd cheering and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna say this as a hater, but I'm gonna say this as a person that listens to pretty much every brand of music that there is. You gonna listen to a hip hop show and get hype over that more than you will to like a Luke Combs show or a Jason Aldean show. I I absolutely have no clue what's going on there. And I don't mean to say that, like I said, as a hater or a non-knower or something like that, but it's the same. Like, we just need to
Who's
have
the
like,
kid? Maybe they should give what's that kid's name? Morgan Wallen. I'm not a fan, but I know he's popular. I know the name. I know he's done a lot of
yeah, or
crossover
KT
tracks.
Musgraves or something like that, or yeah, some secular pop country. I could get with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, people hated Rihanna, and Rihanna did all her hits. I mean, Rihanna's show was fire to me. Period.
Right.
She didn't miss, and people
It was
hated on that
traditional.
too. It was a great show. Beyonce show, great. I mean, there was I, I don't know. Super Bowl shows ain't missed in a while to me. To me. To me.
Correct.
That's just me.
Correct. I'm looking up where's our next
They gonna
Super
mess
Bowl going
around
to
and
be
put
held.
they gonna mess around and put Hans Zimmer out there. Then what? We gonna be listening to movie soundtracks? They gonna be hype about that? Come on now, get out of here, bro.
So the next few we have the next year Super Bowl in San Francisco or Santa Clara, where home of the 49ers. Then we're back
Okay,
to LA again, and then
again.
yes, and then Atlanta.
So Ludacris is gonna get a show.
We got to have an all Atlanta. You cannot have a Super Bowl in Atlanta without the classic Atlanta thing. It's kind of like when they did it in LA a couple
Yeah,
years ago. You got to
yeah,
have the Atlanta acts. You can go versatile. The next one that's going to be in LA, same thing. Both these next two that are in California, you have some optionality. So we'll see what they come
yeah,
up
yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
before we
agree.
know it, the way this damn year is moving along so fast, we're gonna be in football season before we know it. I know the Super Bowl just concluded yesterday, but September will be here before we know it, bro.
Man, August pre-camp, end of July pre-camp, 5 months.
Oh wow,
Training camps, bruh. It should happen so quick,
it's
bro.
it's crazy how fast life is moving along.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Basketball ends in June, comes back in September, October. They got a 4 month all season. Football is three
yeah,
or four. The draft is in April. The draft is almost a month away. Like, bruh,
right.
baseball,
Yeah, it's on.
baseball is November. They're back in
I
February.
mean,
I mean, three,
we're
4 months now
we're
for these pro
literally
sports.
yeah. After the end of this week, we'll be halfway through February. So, yeah, yeah, aging like milk. Um,
Jeez
so
Louise, man.
NBA man, NBA. Let's talk about NBA in general, and then then we can narrow it down to the Mavericks, right? So there's a lot
Yeah,
of trades that haven't been making sense. I mean, we've all said the Luca thing, Luca for AD made no sense from a basketball perspective. There's been a few other ones that are weird. The failed trade between the Lakers and the
Smart.
Hornets that
Yeah, super weird.
failed physical, super weird. Um,
Especially since
Butler
it was a
to
few days
Golden State.
after.
Yeah, and then of
Like,
course
that's
the long
fishy.
lengthy statement, the statement from Charlotte, like, oh, we have to take. It's like breaking up with somebody, and then realizing that y'all can't break up because y'all have a lease together or something like the
Right.
next
That's what I
year.
was saying
And you just,
in my hoop group chat. I was talking about that. I'm like, okay, so how do you come back to the Lakers if you're Dalton Connect? Do you come back happy? Do you come back excited? Like, you pretty much out the rotation now. Like, they didn't trade him for so many other
yeah,
guys. Like, there's no way you're excited now. Like, these
no.
guys
He,
these guys coveted me as a number 17 pick and then thought I was dispensable for a big man to fit the picture that they have. And now I'm back. I don't know if I play the same for them anymore. I don't know if I have that
yeah.
same energy.
We talked about the ratings earlier in the year being down overall,
Yeah.
and the product struggling. I attributed it to too many threes going up, and I know
Bad
there's
basketball.
there's certain there's certain teams that participate in that more than others, where the mid range game has pretty much been eliminated. The stats have said that if you're shooting inside the 3 point line and it is not a dunk or a layup, it's
It's a bad
inefficient.
shot. Yeah,
That's
analytics
what
is
the
stupid.
that's what the numbers say, but it makes for a bad product as well. People are just jacking threes all day, and the efficiency is super low. What what else do you think is contributing to the low ratings for the NBA? Do you think it's just
I don't
we're I mean the players are athletic as they've ever been. Um, I don't know. The game just when I look at like Jordan highlights, even early
mhm.
LeBron highlights, it's a different game. Years
Right.
ago. How do we get back to that?
I don't know. And it's like you want to say the game is more skilled, but also the game is more selfish as well. It's a lot more ISO ball. Nobody wants to see that shit. I personally like a motion set, bro. Like don't get me wrong, I didn't like Golden State's dynasty run, but were they playing amazing basketball? Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Was everybody touching the ball? Yes. Was everybody getting a feel? Yes. Was Steph still that dude? Yes, but everybody was incorporated in offense as well. So it wasn't
You're
like it was
running
just the Steph show.
running different
But
actions, people coming off of screens, backdoor cuts,
yeah,
nice
every
passing.
nobody's stagnant. Now it's like everybody's running a 4 out or 5 out set. You're running a high pick and roll. There's no backside action. You know, just right. Shout out Coach Foster, just teaching us basic basketball and how the game of basketball should be played. Like, remember when we would go through in a practice and Coach Bowen and Coach Foster would tell us about getting a pivot or swiping through and you take one big step. Like, you have to get separation. These folks are
Yeah,
not getting separation anymore. They want to do dribble
no.
combinations. They want to do 4 and 5 moves and make it look cool. They don't want to cross and go. They don't want to in and out and go. They don't want to a quick first step, buy you layup, simple stuff like that. Like, that is the stuff that is aesthetically pleasing. If we could get back to that,
True.
you know what I'm saying? You run a 4 out set, fine. Let the big man and the power forward run a set in the corner, some pick action or something. Let a guard come off a pick. You setting them up for a one dribble pull up in the midi. They don't want to curl anymore. They all want to flare. They all want to shoot a 3 or 4 foot behind the line 3 ball. They want to step back 4 times and then not be a travel. Like, the basketball
You know,
is skilled but
like
not
those
skilled.
like those highlights, we've been sharing back and forth. So like the Miami Heat LeBron days, the Lob City days with the Clippers. When you look at some of those clips, you can see a lot of that's done off of ball screens and rolls, but you also see other action happening in the background. And
Right.
some of those results of the plays are off secondary actions, right? And so it's just like
Exactly,
I
bro.
would love to get back to that version of basketball. It does create more, at the rim type stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
plays that are exciting. Um, I don't know. Like, I love seeing somebody head fake from a midi and then, blowing by somebody for the dunk. We just don't see that
Right.
anymore. That's not common
Correct.
in today's game. So
Correct.
that basic stuff, I think that's why the game is just not appealing. And I think even the young guys don't like watching, even guys that are participating in the game today on the high school level, college level, don't like watching with the game that
Yeah,
they play.
that's another thing that's messing up the product as well. And we've talked about that 1,000 times. The brand of basketball that's being played in AAU and high school basketball is literally an abomination of basketball. The game of the premise of AAU is no longer what it used to be. You play in a couple of tournaments over the summer to get a rhythm, to stay in shape, and then you put all of your eggs in your high school basketball team. These guys do not give a flying flip about high school basketball anymore. These D1 coaches
Yeah.
are making a summer tour to AAU current tournaments. They're going to 4 and 5 major events. They're going to ABCD camps. They're going to the Nike Elite camps. They're going to the Adidas Elite camps, and they're making decisions from there off of
But that's to
off
me,
of
that's
5-on-5
flawed.
open runs.
I get it, but that's flawed too because if I'm not the star and let's say there's two top guys on each team, nobody else is getting any run. I'll give you an example. This goes back longer than you think, man. And I saw it firsthand. So I graduated high school 25 years ago. Crazy. Um, and I got invited to some select tournament in Oklahoma. And I remember driving up there that day. It was like a late invite. And I'm playing with a bunch of guys that I had, none of us knew each other. It was like, hey,
Right.
your ass is on the team this weekend. And I remember, unless I rebounded the ball, I did not get the
It went
ball.
coast to coast.
And it was
Right. It went coast to
it,
coast
it
and
was
did your own
isolation
thing.
ball. Don't give it up, because you are not going to see that ball again. So this is like 1999, 98. It was like a summer before my last season. So
Yeah.
it was bad, man. And that was way back
Believable.
then. And it's gotten worse. So I feel bad for these kids and what they're experiencing on this level. Um, I need to get some extra stars back in the dunk contest. Still got Jordan versus Dominique Gumby. Oh Lord, hey, Andy, don't.
Man, don't
That's my
Andy,
time.
don't get us started on the All-Star game, bro. Don't get us started on the All-Star game, bro. It's so
D- Dom,
unwatchable,
Dom,
man.
Dominique, man, that dude was like a freak athlete. He could play in
Yeah,
any era. The
any
amount
era.
of the amount of bounce that Dominique had. I remember seeing. I
Off
mean,
two and 1 foot.
Atlanta never really made deep runs in the playoffs, but even seeing Dominique going up against Larry Bird in the Eastern Conference playoffs, I loved it, man. Seeing people
Yeah,
shooting it off the damn square, and again a bunch of middies. It was just that was good basketball to me. I mean,
yeah.
we sound old as
Shit,
hell, but
DeMar DeRozan had 42 on our head tops today. All middies. You know he don't shoot threes.
right, it's still efficient,
God
man. It's
bless.
still efficient. So
It
let's
really
jump to the
is, man.
Mavs. I mean, we've talked about how atrocious the trade was for Luca. It makes no basketball sense. Um, we see AD go down the third quarter of his first game with the abductor strain. They tried to play it off and say, "Oh, he'll be out one game," and now it's out. He's out several weeks, which was everybody's worst fear, right? That he's injury
Yeah,
prone, even though the stats showed that he in the last 100 games he had played about 90% of his games, which is good.
yeah.
But here we are seeing what LA saw. Luca, I don't. I think he might lace it up tonight. Maybe I saw an
He is
alert.
playing.
Okay, so he's
He is
playing his
playing.
first
They
game.
flex U of H. They flex U of H prime time in the middle of their game off the TV
No
to play
way.
the swear to God.
No way.
U of H Baylor was on the TV,
I
and as
saw
soon
it.
as 9:30 hit, they went to it.
I switched
Grimy,
back
bro.
over to the Mavs to catch the end of that one. So I didn't see that switch, but oh man. And so the Mavs lost today in OT. Had a chance. I think I saw Clay hit a three to go up one, and
Yeah,
then again they lost the lead.
DeMar DeRozan hit a midi 13-foot jumper.
Always
Oh
works. I'm
god.
just saying. And I saw that too, Mom. That Gafford. I saw
Yeah,
an
knee
alert.
sprain or something like
Um,
that. Got helped off the court. D Live can't come
it's
back
it is
soon enough.
it is over for the Mavericks this year, sir. It's it sucks. Um, okay, we got Luca not passing. Ugh. Okay, we're going to wrap it up because I want to see the second half of
Yeah, I
this
want to
Laker
watch.
Utah game. But
We'll see how it goes.
so NBA, bro, it's just it was exciting for like a couple seasons, and then we're kind of back to blah. But
We'll see how it goes. I mean, Adam Silver taking over was the worst thing that could have happened. I mean, first of all, David Stern wouldn't even let the Luka trade go through. He would have looked at everybody involved like they was crazy. You gonna
that would have
put
got
this across
crushed.
my table?
Nah, that would have went into the league office, and he would have been like, what? And apparently,
Right.
Mark Cuban tried to squash the deal, but I guess at 30% ownership, you just don't have the same pool anymore.
His fault. He wanted to buy into a casino royale, goof ass. Should have kept his majority stake, dumbass. I hate that man. He's officially the worst now.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Let's go. Let's get out of
You're
here,
still
man. I'm angry.
despondent.
Oh
You're
my God.
despondent. I know. You're going down. You're
Oh.
tanking. All right, y'all. Beardy Bros Golf Show. We'll be back at it again next week. We had a pretty packed agenda today. I appreciate y'all joining us. I am Rod.
I'm Marcus.
Catch y'all next week.